Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to do another what sold video. Now I do want to say we're getting over literally 4 viruses back to back, so if my voice sounds strange, that would be why. But yeah, we're going to try anyways. It's been a while since I filmed because it's been that chaotic. So today I don't think we're going to focus on 100% sell-through rate. I'm trying to just get this video in for you guys. I'm going to show you some things that I've sold, hopefully some high dollar things. I honestly don't know until I look at what I have that I'm going to tell you about. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Now, before we do jump into these items that I've sold, I do want to thank today's sponsor, which is PrimeLister. PrimeLister is a really great cloud-based Poshmark automation tool, and it does all of the heavy lifting in a sense for me. Like I said, I've been sick. It's been great in doing its job while I've been sick. Not to mention October, you guys, you know, October was crazy. Poshmark changed their fees and sales just dived for a lot of us, and I was one of those people. It was nice to have PrimeLister there to just take care of all of that, all the things I didn't want to do knowing that the orders weren't coming in like normal. So yeah, it's been a really great asset to my reselling business. It can do all of the relisting for you. It can do cross-listing. It can do sales for you. It can lower prices. There's so many things that it can do. It really is a great system. It beats my old system that I had by far. If you're selling on Poshmark and you don't have time to waste, it really is important to try out a software that can do what PrimeLister does and take over the things that really eat up your time. So if you're ready to elevate your business and check it out, I'll have it linked down below for you guys. It will save you some coins on your very first month, so don't forget that. Go down there, check it out, sign up, do a 2-week free trial. You don't even have to put in your payment info. And then after that, once you know you're ready for it, you can use my code to get the discount for your first month. All right, let's go ahead and talk about some sales. Okay, so I think we left off with the flax linen pants, the wide leg pants in the last video. Let's start somewhere around there. I also want to say, as usual, if the math doesn't math, it's because there are variables in here that aren't being considered, which is shipping cost versus the discount I get for being a top seller, things like that. So you will see that if you try to do the math based on what I tell you, the numbers are going to look different. So just be aware of that. I like to always make you guys aware of that. The numbers I'm giving you, as always, are the profit, what the item sold for minus shipping and taxes, and then I tell you what I paid for them and what the fees were. And this is the profit before I pay taxes. I like to be as transparent as possible. I do want to talk about a really great sale really quick, and that is a vintage dress by a brand called Gilead. Now, this was a maxi dress. It was a very small dress, and it was prairie patchwork style of dress, cottage core, all those kind of things that are heavy hitters for a very specific type of aesthetic. So I knew it would do great. Now with Gilead, if you look up this brand, there's not a lot of them. There are some circulating, but not a ton. They are a slower moving item, but they sell for high dollar, especially if you get the right styles. There are some styles from this brand that I would say maybe pass on or just be okay with getting less money. But when it comes to these prairie type dresses, expect big dollars. I could have made anywhere from 100 to probably like 130 on this dress if I waited it out. I got offers immediately for around like 75, 80, which isn't bad considering what I paid for. I paid around $5. We'll talk about it in a second. But I knew that it would sell fast. So, I mean, not fast. I knew that it would sell for good money. So I held off and it worked out great. And maybe I'll do a deep dive. I don't want to say that because I always say this and then like I don't have time to actually do it. But if I have time, maybe we'll do a deep dive on Gilead because I think it's a really interesting vintage brand to be on the lookout for. But yeah, this sold on eBay in 201 days. Like I said, it's a slower seller because the price is so high. I sold it for $100 even. No, the amount I paid in store was $4.99 and the fees were $14.44. So I made a profit of $82.17 on this gorgeous dress that I recommend keeping an eye out for. I keep the tags somewhere on this page, so pay attention for that tag. I just happened to come across it in a thrift store and ended up being a great thing to come by. It was my first time hearing of this brand too. Okay, so here's an item that did sell within 30 days. This is actually the second time I found a dress extremely similar to this one. I've shared one before in an old video. I'm not sure which one, but a very similar item. And that is this Catherine's maxi dress. And the size is a strange size. I was worried about that because it's a 3X WP, which is a lot going on because you have a 3X wide with a petite. And sometimes those mixtures don't do well because that's very specific. But it did work out, and I think it's because of the print. This is the second time this print has done well. The other one did way better. I think it sold for like 35 or something. maybe 40, I don't remember, somewhere around that. But this one sold in 25 days on eBay for $20. So just a really quick flip. I probably could have gotten more, but once again, this was when fall was starting, so I wanted to go ahead and get some of these springy and summery things out of the way. I originally paid $5.29 for it, and the fees were $4.50, which brought my profit to $14.68 for a really quick flip on a pattern that I just know flips. So it was just one of those ones where I knew it would be in and out. So yeah, if you find these tropical dresses that are by Catherine's or the collab with like Catherine's and Maggie Barnes or whatever that is, those are the ones that tend to flip pretty quick for me. Next was a pair of Judy blue shorts, which surprisingly took longer than I expected. And that can happen. I think Judy blue is not as popular as it once was, so there's that. It was a 3XL, which is why I picked these up, but it was a boyfriend fit distressed shorts that were white with a 5.5-inch seam with a high-rise waist. So I thought it would sell faster, but I still think it made a decent turnaround price-wise. It sold on Poshmark in 178 days for $30. I originally paid $4.99 for it. Fees were $6, so I made $19.01. So yeah, Judy blue is something where I kind of think twice before picking it up, just because it doesn't move fast for me. So I don't know, that seems to be a preference brand for people. Some people do great with it and some people don't, so I think twice before picking up Judy blue. Okay, this next one is a really cool one. The dress was very interesting, and it was kind of one of those things you pick up by chance hoping it'll work out, and it worked out pretty decent. Not the best sale, but let's still talk about it. This is the Abercrombie and Fitch dress. It was a mini dress with faux suede. It was a size 2, so very small. A patchwork sort of, or I guess you could say color blocked, however you want to say it, type of dress. It had studs on it, retro, eclectic, had cutouts. Those are the keywords that I went with. And it sold on Poshmark in 105 days for $35, which I was pretty satisfied with for something that I wasn't sure was going to sell. I paid $5.29 for it. Fees were $7, so I made a profit of $22.71. But yeah, if you're in the thrift store and sometimes you see cool pieces, I think it's worth risking, especially if you do style based pickups, which I tend to lean more towards these days for sake of time. The style based pickups are a lot harder to gauge as far as like an easy metric to read. Like if you do sell-through rate, you know it's going to sell because the solds are more than the listed, those kind of things. But style based pieces, you just never know. Sometimes you can gauge them by metrics, but a lot of times you can't. It's just a matter of knowing the trends. So I would say that one turned out pretty decent for a guess of I thought it would make it. The next item I want to talk about is a Cynthia Rowley cardigan 1X. It was boiled wool, which is a sought after material. Classic style is what I wrote. It very much just fits your everyday classic looks. It's stretchy, breathable due to the natural fibers. I always like to put breathable for those kind of things because I feel like it's a word that does help sell things. That's anecdotal, of course. Do your own research. And it actually was a closure by Snaps. So those are the keywords I chose to use. This did sell on eBay in 17 days, which is a great turnaround for $35.50. I paid $8.29 for this item. So it did meet my 4X threshold, which is great. So I made more than 4 times the money back, and the fees were $6.38. So I made a profit of $25.30 on this very plain piece. There's actually a lot of boring plain pieces that are selling this year, and I think it has a lot to do with like the normcore and some of those aesthetics that are selling, but also the great material. Boiled wool, it's a great material. So yeah, I think it just had enough things going for it to sell pretty fast. Next is a JCrew evening gown. Sorry, my voice is starting to go in and out from talking so much. It's an evening gown, size 6. It was 100% silk, blue gauzy chiffon material. Great for like weddings, formal events, those kind of things. It had some ribbing to it for structure. Flowy dress, so very easy keywords to sell itself. I did want a little more, but I went ahead and took an offer on this one, and the offer was on eBay for $47.78. It sold in 90 days, which is a great turnaround, and that actually might have been, did it go on a sale? That might have been a sale price. I might have included it in a sale. I didn't mean to because that is a very specific number, but regardless of that, I paid $5.29 for it, so I definitely made my money's worth off of it. Fees were $7.65. It did have a promotional fee of $2.93 on that, which brought me to a profit of $34.21. So I don't stray away from formal. I know formal can scare people, but if you are just careful in buying the right pieces, it can actually work out in your favor. So I do recommend it's something to start trying to branch out into if you do have a fear of formal wear, because I know it's not the easiest thing to sell, but you can make great money there. Okay, next we have a Peter Marar item. I'm going to bring it up just because I don't remember this piece. Was it pants? It was pants. So this was my first time selling, I think, Peter Marar pants. I usually buy tops, but this was the Peter Marar Men's Crown Vintage Canvas Pants. It was a size 38 by 32, so it's just an okay size in my opinion. Brown straight leg. I kept the model number in it because that seemed to work for a good amount of the comps I seen that sold, so that's why I chose to do that. But it did sell on Poshmark in 257 days for $24, so not the best item. This is why I tend to stay away from pants. Pants is just not my forte, but I gave it a chance because I only paid $3.79 for them. No, I'm sorry, no, I paid $4.99 for them. The fees were $3.79. So I just feel like going with it and trying it, and I think I'm gonna stay away from it for that price at least, because the profit was only $15.22 after almost a year, so I probably wouldn't pick that up again. Okay, these were super cute. They're Steve Madden 2-inch platform Oxfords with a kind of like color block on the bottom, very retro 50s, maybe 60s vibe. Greco was a keyword I used for it. I can't remember why, but I'm assuming it was something that was in a lot of the solds for that specific shoe. So sometimes I just go off of that. Or maybe it was the Greco shoe. I can't remember. It's been a while since I worried about these shoes, but how cute are they? They're retro, kind of like that bowling vibe, 50s platform, really cool shoes. So they did take 186 days to sell for $27. They were not perfect. They did have some flaws, and I paid $4 for them. The fees were $4.16, so I made a profit of $18.84 on these really cute shoes. I actually don't pick up a ton of Steve Madden because it just doesn't move for me, but it seems like if you get the right pieces, it can. So I don't know, you got to go find someone out there that knows what they're doing with Steve Madden. That is not me. Here's another one of those very basic pieces, which I've noticed trending since we started selling a lot of colder weather items. It's a vintage LBE Cardigan 3X pink. It was a silk cotton blend. It was a very normcore piece, but these solid pieces seem to do well for me. It sold on Poshmark in 8 days for $24, which is a really great turnaround for something so basic and plain. There's not even much to say about it. It's very basic, other than vintage, which makes it sound cooler, but I only paid $2.16 for it. The fees were $3.79, so I made $18.05. So yeah, if it's a great quality and it could fit into, you know, some of those really basic, either layered looks where people are looking for great outdoor layered looks, or normcore pieces, I would recommend considering picking them up. Okay, next is a Patagonia item, and a Patagonia, it's a men's, oh, these were brand new with tags. Men's Terrebonne jogger pants, large, 40 plus UPF. I kept the model number in there. It seemed to be something that did well for it. In the sold comps range was pretty good. I got a good number. I could have gotten up to $80 probably, but I was like, I'll take 60. Heck yes, let's turn it around. So yeah, these pants sold on eBay in 2 days for $60. Now the cool thing about this was a day where I was at a thrift store where there were a ton of full-time resellers. And at that specific rack, there were 3 full-time resellers who I know do well. Looking through that entire rack, and I had to wait my turn because there was already 3 people. There's only so much room. I waited my turn and still went through it. And guess what? Because they were in such a hurry, they missed a brand new with tags Patagonia pants. So remember to always look through the racks, even if you feel like they've been picked over by people who maybe intimidate you a little bit, or like maybe they don't intimidate you, but like maybe, you know, well, there's no chance of anything being there because they know what they're doing. I'm telling you, even those people miss things. You miss things. Everybody misses things. So go back through and make sure, check the tags, right? That's probably what they did. And I think they just went and looked through like this, and there was nothing obvious sticking out. These didn't have like a giant obvious Patagonia thing, but new with tags. So always pay attention to that. So like I said, sold for $60. I paid $5.29 for them, and the fees were $8.61, so I made a profit of $48.12 on those really cool pants. Okay, so this next dress sold, and actually the person came back and bought a second one. I had 2 of the same dress, 2 different sizes. I went to their page and they didn't have anything listed because I thought maybe they were like a reseller who sources online and resells, but I didn't see them on there. The person buys more than they sell, so I'm not sure why they chose to get 2 dresses of the same out of my store, but nonetheless, this is a JJ House sheath column dress, and it was embroidered. It was very much like the fairy core, balloon core type deal, and I had 2 of them. This first one sold. They bought them different time frames too. So like the other one's gonna be on a future video. But this one here sold for $55 in 177 days. And the embroidery on it was gorgeous, by the way. $9.99 is what I paid, and that definitely 4x'd my money. The fees were $8.90, so I made $40.47 on this dress. All right, this is a good stopping point. I'm going to go ahead and stop there, and be sure to go ahead and check out this video over here if you want to see more. I'll see you over there in that video. Have a good day.